welcome to NUS High School's e-Open House Student Panel Q&A section. I am Qian.
And I am Caleb.
We will be your facilitators for today's panel. So many of you might have been disappointed that you're not able to speak with NUS High students to have a first-hand account on the NUS High School experience. But not to worry, in this recording, we are going to hear from a few of our peers on what they feel about their time here in NUS High, based on some of the common FAQs that we have received in the past. Before we begin, may we have the 5 panelists introduce themselves with their name and current year of studies.
Hi, I'm Shevonne from year 4.
Hi, I'm Zackaria from year 4.
Hi, I'm Carlyne from year 5.
Hi, I'm Michelle from year 6.
Hi guys, I'm Meng from year 6.
Thank you for your introductions, panelists. To begin, let's answer one of the burning questions for all primary school students when making a choice for secondary school. What was the deciding factor for you to choose NUS High as your secondary school option? Maybe you could hear from Meng first.
I think for me, the choice was very simple. NUS High had no O and A levels. And at that time in P6, I was studying for PSLE and I decided I didn't really like marking for national examinations. So I decided to come to NUS High, where a lot more time can be spent on learning things instead of just studying for examinations.
I see. Thank you, Meng. Now, how about you, Zackaria?
Well, I chose NUS High so that I could further my passion in math and science. I always liked math and science and usually read beyond the syllabus in primary school. When I was choosing my secondary school, I read that in NUS High, students enjoyed math and science classes that were rigorous in both depth and breadth. And students could also do their own research project in their senior years. Also, some of my primary school seniors in NUS High said that the curriculum was designed to encourage students to think creatively, which is an important trait for scientists and mathematicians. All in all, I thought NUS could fuel my passion in math and science. Besides that, I was surprised that NUS High also provided opportunities to explore non-math and science fields like languages, which I love to learn. I especially like to learn Japanese. In NUS High, they provide in-school Japanese classes, so it is very convenient to learn Japanese. Also, if you join the in-school Japanese classes, you get to participate in exchange programs every year with Japanese schools, both here in Singapore and overseas. Looking back, this made me more interested in Japanese.
Thank you, Zackaria. So let's hear a different perspective from Carlyne.
I think the deciding factor for me would be the fact that there were also no O and A levels. As someone who is able to understand concepts better when put into real-world context, I was attracted to the benefits from having more free time for experimentation, such as practicals and projects, rather than stressing over major exams. And personally, as a consistent learner, I would also rather that my exams carry equal weightage over 4 years versus one major exam to determine my eligibility for university. And honestly speaking, coming to NUS High, the free time for hands-on learning has really benefited me in terms of mastering concepts and has made learning much more enjoyable for me.
Thank you, Carlyne. Moving on, many people often hear that the pace of lessons is rather fast in our school and it could be quite stressful as a student. Michelle, can you share with us how the pace of lessons was for you?
I would say that the pace of lessons in NUS High is slightly faster than the other schools, but honestly it's a great academic experience because having the lessons a little bit faster in your lower years just means that you get more time to explore other opportunities in your upper years. You also get to take honors classes, which is when you choose certain subjects to learn more in depth. And personally, I don't get very stressed because I know that as long as I do my best, I can tackle the tests and assessments with consistent revision. But I do remember that in year 1, when I just came in, the pace of lessons was a huge jump from what I was used to in primary school. But I guess, difficult as it is, learning to adjust to the pace of work is an inevitable learning process. So it challenges you, but it makes you a better person, more disciplined and more productive. And one of the best things about NUS High, and I guess what makes this growing process possible, is honestly how dedicated the teachers here are. So I've had teachers who are very inspiring because they're so good at what they do. I've also had teachers who supported and believed in me through all my ups and downs during my time here. So I would say clarify your doubts early in class and schedule consultations with the teachers if you need to. And on top of that, manage your time well and being productive. They really helped me to keep up with the pace of lessons and get the grades that I want.
Thank you, Michelle. What about for you, Carlyne?
Well, I believe that the pace of lessons is actually quite subjective from person to person. But personally for me, I find that the pace of lessons is quite manageable. And one large factor which enabled me to cope with the pace were the teachers, as Michelle has mentioned. And last year, I was actually having troubles catching up on math when I took up more responsibility. But my math teacher was very encouraging. He organized weekly consultation sessions for weaker students and also took the time to analyze my mistakes with me, which really helped me bounce back quickly. And additionally, I believe what helped was also the fact that in our first 2 years in NUS High, our grades were not counted towards the final graduation cap, the cumulative average points, which gave us sufficient time to adjust to the new pace of lessons. And definitely, meanwhile, for students who wish to learn at a higher level, NUS High also allows students to take university modules or to accelerate certain modules. But of course, whichever school we are in, it should be a given that all of us have to put in sufficient effort to ensure that we stay on top of our grades.
Thank you, Carlyne. So moving on to our next question for Shevonne, Meng, and Zackaria. In many school talks, it is often mentioned that our lessons are planned around authentic tasks and experiential learning. So starting with Shevonne, can you share more about what may be so special about the learning experience in NUS High?
I'd say that our school's learning curriculum definitely has a great emphasis on the idea of experiential learning or learning through experience. The science labs and practicals offered in school, for instance, are actually of quite high quality. All three sciences have practicals starting from year 1 onwards, which help to complement and enhance the concepts which we learn within the classroom. Even the Olympiad modules, which we can take, also have practicals which allow us to understand the concepts taught in greater depth. So all of these give us certain skills which would be very important in conducting research in the future. Even for subjects such as math, we are able to learn and explore about concepts in several different areas due to the journals which we have. And in the field of computing studies, we're also able to make our own projects in essentially any field. In addition, the paths offered by your school are relatively open-ended, where there are many opportunities offered to explore deeper in one's own niche-specific interests. For instance, when choosing sciences or majors in year 4, CS is offered as one of the options, so there are a greater number of different paths available. There are also research projects which can be taken up by students. For instance, there's the Science Mentorship Program starting from year 3. In addition, I would say another major factor is the community itself, because the community of students is extremely diverse in terms of interest, which increases the chance that one is likely to find cohort mates interested in which share one specific niche interest. I would say that this vibrant community definitely helps with this experiential learning.
I see. Thank you, Shevonne. Now, can we have Meng to share his thoughts?
I think the experiential learning and the authentic tasks are definitely things that are very, very special and very, very unique to NUS High School. Now, the assessment system is not just exam focused, but as Shevonne said, there's a large focus on projects and practicals where we apply the knowledge that we learn in the classroom. And some of the most interesting practicals I've done include measuring the brain signals of crickets after intoxicating them with nicotine by inserting electrodes into their brains. Then we can observe a sharp spike in their brain signals, which really allows us to see in real life what we normally see in the anti-smoking posters, right? And this is not just limited to science practicals. Even for English projects, it can be very interesting and fun. So now, just this semester, I did a project where we formed our own political party, wrote our own manifesto, and organized a political rally in class to campaign for real issues faced in ASEAN countries. So it's amazing, really, how much we can learn from these authentic tasks beyond just examination skills, but really actually immersing ourselves in it and enjoying it in the process.
Thank you, Meng. How about for you, Zackaria?
I think that the academic experience at NUS High is very fun. For example, in our regular classes, we have many projects where we can apply what we learn to real life. At first, I thought that the projects were going to be very stressful and troublesome, but the projects turned out to be very enjoyable and forced you to be creative, although they are admittedly a bit stressful. For example, in physics class, we got to make our own projectile launcher and test it out using a tennis ball. In English class, we did an advocacy project where we interviewed actual volunteer welfare organizations and did a newsletter about them. In this way, we could spread awareness about their cause while practicing our writing skills. I would also like to mention the Da Vinci subject our school offers. This subject is unique to NUS High and is offered to Year 1 to Year 3 students. Through this subject, students can dabble in research and engineering and refine their presentation and communication skills. I remember in Year 2, I planned, executed, and presented a biology experiment with my friends. During the process, we got to try out experimental techniques used by the experts, such as spectrophotometry, and write a paper on our results. The teachers were also very helpful and supportive and ensured that we would get the most out of this experience.
Thank you, Zackaria. As we all know, NUS High is a school that specializes in math and science. But are there opportunities and platforms to develop students' interest in languages and the humanities? Maybe we could start off with Michelle for this question.
Yes, there are definitely opportunities for that. So I love biology and chemistry, but I sometimes like to take a break from studying those by reading the news. So through my interest in current affairs, I was able to seek out and receive so many opportunities in the languages and humanities. And some of my most enriching experiences in NUSI turned out to be in these areas. For example, I attended MC trainings, the pre-university seminar, and the Mood Parliament program. Currently, I'm also in Insight, which is a current affairs interest group. I'm also in the organizing committee for the annual Sustainable Development Youth Convention, SDYC, which is a model United Nations that our school organizes. For myself, I think that it is very important that we do not get lost as we stumble into an ever deeper understanding of science, for we diminish its value if we do not care about humanity. SDYC, for example, has made me a lot more aware of world history as well as the operations of the United Nations. But more than that, it's also taught me to care for the humanitarian issues in the world. SDYC has also been a great platform for me to meet a lot of cool friends, and it's also a platform for you to develop skills of negotiation and leadership.
Thank you, Michelle. Now let's hear from Shevonne.
Well, there are definitely quite a few of these platforms available. Contrary to what one may initially expect, most students in our school aren't purely math and science oriented, and not even everyone is interested in mathematics and science necessarily. For instance, this is definitely reflected in our school curriculum. For example, in Year 2 and 3, students are able to choose one of the following humanities to take in the school curriculum between music, art, literature, geography, and history. From Year 4 onwards, it is in fact possible to take one of these humanities as a major, so it's not actually necessary to stop taking these humanities as one progresses through the years. In addition to this, there are also student-initiated ventures, such as interest groups, which exist in nearly every field. For example, I'm actually a member of the English Language Interest Group, or ELRG, where we have several activities, such as the Creative Writing Circle, which provides us with a platform to exchange creative writing and discuss it between us. There are also several competitions which are open to everyone, such as the many English creative writing competitions. To provide another viewpoint, there is also the Music and Art Appreciation Group, or MA Square, which organizes many internal events, including internal competitions such as talent search. So a lot of these things are on a voluntary basis. In addition to this, it is also possible to gain this kind of exposure to CCAs, in particular the performing arts co-curricular activities, which allow one to gain deeper insights into these fields. So I would say there are definitely ample opportunities for one to gain understanding in these areas.
Thank you, Shevonne. NUS High is known for its rigorous academic program. So do you feel that NUS High has developed you holistically? And what are the platforms that have allowed you to develop your social, emotional competencies and leadership skills? Maybe you can start off with hearing from Carlyne.
Well, despite math and science being part of our school name, NUS High really has so much more to offer beyond the math and sciences. And I think what really developed me as a person were the leadership roles I took up, from being a mentor representative in year 1 to a netball captain in the following year and a student counselor in the 3rd year. I've learned how to work with different people of different personalities to bring out the best in the team. And currently, I hold multiple leadership roles, and I also learned how to manage my time better with these added responsibilities. But more specifically, in the Students' Council, it has trained my critical thinking skills as we have to consider many aspects in, let's say, the planning of an event, how the responses of the students will be like, the logistics and manpower in running the event, etc. But beyond formal leadership roles, there are also many opportunities available to develop students holistically. So for example, my CCA netball, we organized a Values in Action program last year where we taught netball to underprivileged children from the Children's Wishing Well. And as someone who didn't interact with young children often, I could feel that there was a certain generation gap when I started interacting with them. However, hoping that the children will develop an interest in netball, I stepped out my comfort zone and learned how to break down technical netball skills into instructions that the children could understand, and also how to make lessons much more interesting and enjoyable for them. And at the end of the day, the children really enjoyed the program, and I've also developed my communication skills. So these are just a few examples of the opportunities that NUS High provides, which has really helped me develop as a person.
Thank you, Carlyne. So how about you, Hongming? What do you think about this?
I think definitely NUS High has developed me holistically. And it is a common misconception that you only learn math and science in NUS High. I'm here to tell you that's not true. So now one of it is the humanitarian education program, one of the programs that form the cornerstone of the NUS High education. So all students will go through it in year 5, where the students will be given funding and support to conduct projects, any projects in all fields, any projects to benefit the community. So some of my friends did environment projects, others work with elderly at old folks' homes, and for our group, we partnered with Loving Hearts Community Service Center and did science workshops for underprivileged students, which you can read out about more on our NUS High website. So, but for me personally, the main platform in which I really develop as a person is through the Students' Council. So I spent more than half my time in NUS High involved in the Students' Council, and I think I really grew a lot as a person through council. Now, before joining the Students' Council, I was a very typical student. I was quiet, introverted. Well, I like reading. I like science. I like reading about science. And that's about it. But then, I think talking to people, well, not so much. But entering council and interacting and collaborating with others, planning events and initiatives to improve the student experience in NUS High, that's where I feel I really grew as a person. And it's a journey that allowed me to develop my social and emotional competencies and mature and grow as an individual. So that is to me what NUS High is about. Not just about studying academics, but about growth and development as a person.
Thank you, Hongming. So maybe you could hear about what Michelle thinks about this too.
Yes, I definitely agree with both of them. So there's an array of opportunities in NUS High for you to develop holistically. And one thing to add on is that I really appreciate the flexibility of the systems here. So you are the navigator of the experiences that you want to have in NUS High. And you can be a complete novice at something when you start, but the seniors and teachers, they really help you to grow as you go. In my case, I was in the debate club for 3 years, and now I'm in netball. So I think my experiences with both of these CCAs have really taught me indispensable skills that I think allowed me to develop holistically. And I've also been a house representative and a mentor representative. And through the process of organizing events and planning activities, gathering people, they really help to develop my interpersonal skills.
Thank you, Michelle. Moving on to our second last question. What has been some of the special programs in the school which has made a difference in your experience as a student? So for Meng, I know you shared with us about the humanitarian education program earlier. Can you share with us some other special programs that has made a difference to your student experience here?
Now, definitely, I think there's been a lot of programs which made a difference to my experience as a student. I think I'll start with the advanced research project. So now all students have to do this advanced research project in year 5. And most students, they'll be attached to a university or commercial lab doing actual research using cutting-edge equipment on the cutting edge of scientific knowledge. So now for me, I did 2 research projects. The first one on genetically engineering bacteria to remove arsenic from groundwater in rural areas at a low cost and without having to use electricity or large equipment. Then in year 5, I did another project and developed a way to detect breast cancer in 15 minutes. Sounds cool, right? So right now I'm still following up with that project and writing a manuscript for my paper. And I feel that this is really, really cool. And this is really what immerses you in what science research is about. Where every student gets this opportunity to be on the cutting edge of scientific knowledge. And I also went overseas twice during my time in NUS High, to Korea, Germany, and Russia. And I was actually going to go for a trip to Qian this year, but unfortunately, COVID happened, and hence we're having this e-open house as well. But the most memorable trips is my 2 weeks OSAP at X Lab in Göttingen, Germany. So we get to meet and interact with researchers from the University of Göttingen, learn from them, and to experience the differences in educational pedagogy and the way they teach in Germany and in Singapore. And it's a really, really cool and eye-opening experience. And there's also the boarding program in year 5, which was really great as well. So it's a great incubator for ideas and an integral part of the NUS High experience. So you get to stay with your friends for 1 whole year in school. Enough said.
Thank you, Meng. Now can we have Shevonne to share with us her thoughts?
Well, NUS High offers a lot of different programs in many fields, and a great majority of them are on a voluntary basis. Although I'd say that personally, the ones that have made a great impact, the greatest impacts on me are probably the academic ones. Firstly, our school offers these Olympiad modules or programs. I've tried out most of them, and I've certainly had a rather positive impression. These programs have quite high commitment, but the reward for them is also very high, as one gets to pursue one's personal interests and learn far beyond what is taught within the school syllabus. There are various compositions that one can take part that these programs will prepare one for, and these help to foster a more creative or interesting application of the concepts which we typically learn in class. On the other side of this, there's also the many research programs that are available, starting with the Da Vinci modules, which begin in year 1. But there are also many other platforms to do research, such as the Science Mentorship Program, or as Meng said earlier, the Advanced Research Program. Due to all these opportunities, practically every student in our school is primed for research and given various opportunities to pursue in this area. So these programs definitely help to provide a deeper insight into research itself, which help provide a number of skills which would be really important for working in scientific fields in future. In addition to this, there are programs such as independent study mode, which allows one to study a module independently outside of class. And should one do well enough, one can proceed to accelerate in the subjects. So this approach helps to foster an attitude of self-directed learning and definitely helps students to learn at their own pace and possibly beyond the curriculum. There's also the Einstein Plus mentoring program, which allows one to receive mentoring in their subject of interest, in my case, mathematics and chemistry. So these also help one to learn far beyond the curriculum. So as seen here, there are definitely many opportunities which are available to delve deeper into one's own particular interests and acquire necessary skill sets for the future.
Thank you, Shevonne. So, Zackaria, what are some of these special programs which has made a difference to your student experience?
For me, the most memorable program was the Japanese exchange programs. Like I mentioned before, as a Japanese student, you can go for exchange programs. Each exchange program was very special to me because I could interact with people who had a different culture, language, and mindset, and broaden my perspective. Even if you're not a Japanese student, you can still go on the other school organized overseas exchange programs that are open to the whole cohort. And my friends who have gone for such exchange programs have told me that they had a great time and learned a lot. Besides that, I also enjoyed participating in this talent search. I am an avid learner of dance, particularly street dance. And last year I decided that, hey, why not participate in talent search? So I formed a group with my fellow housemates and signed up. What was so memorable about it was the whole process was very challenging. We practiced nearly every day after school, sometimes until night, and it was very exhausting. But in the end, our efforts paid off and we got a good result. This not only could I further my passion in dance alongside math and science, I also learned the value of teamwork and hard work. To sum it up, having been in NUS High for 4 years, I think that this school is a very diverse and fun place to be in because you can pursue your passion even if it is not related to math and science.
Thank you, Zackaria. So we started off on how you would choose a secondary school. And to end off the dialogue, we have the most important question for all our Year 6 students. So where do you guys see yourself going after NUS High? And has the school provided enough opportunities for you to explore possible pathways after high school? So let's hear from our Year 6 panelists, starting from Michelle.
Well, after NUS High, I hope to study either medicine or biochemical sciences in university. Yes, NUS High has provided me with so many opportunities that allow me to have a lot of options when I think about what I want to study in university. For example, in the biology interest group, several times a year we will go on field trips to see a range of sectors. And last year, we went to a National Center for Infectious Diseases, NCID. So seeing the vital role that the center plays in the current outbreak has made it that much more a memorable and valuable experience to have. And the teachers and support from NUS High has also allowed me to do 2 research projects as well during my time here. So one of which was in molecular biology and another one was in computational biology. So the computational biology project was done at A-Star. It gave me quite a realistic understanding of what it's like to do research. And sometimes it's not easy, where you don't get the results that you want, or you take longer than expected to obtain the results. But the experience as a whole was very fulfilling, and I learned a lot from it, which is why I'm very keen to do research as well. These opportunities and many others that I've had in the school has allowed me to discover and develop my passion, and I think prepared me well for university. So in the end, I hope to find myself in a career where I can integrate my knowledge of science with people-to-people interaction skills to do something meaningful in society.
Thank you, Michelle. So lastly, how about for you, Hongming?
Well, I think this is a hard question that all the Year 6s are thinking about now. But for me, what I want to do is to really serve others and help make their lives a little better. So right now, I'm currently considering taking up a scholarship to work in the civil service doing policy work, because I think through that, I can really make a big impact on the community around me. But I think definitely the school has provided many opportunities for us to explore all these pathways. We have a very dedicated team of college and career counselors, and there are career fairs, scholarship boards, universities coming in to give talks at universities such as Tusqa and Cambridge, coming into our school to try to attract our students. And to explore research in academia, we got to do research projects, commercial labs. To explore humanities, we got to participate in Model United Nations and other humanities-related competitions. So definitely the school supports our possible pursuits in all the various fields, and I think it's really up to us to make use of these opportunities.
Thank you, Hongming. So with that, we have come to the end of this student panel Q&A section. We hope that it helped you to answer any burning questions which you may have about our school and give an insight into what life as an NUS High School student would be like. Thank you.